We're going the distance. Version 1 force game 3 with like this back and forth slugfest that we had. 13-8 on Haven. Bach, that was a really hard fought battle for version 1. And, you know, statistically, this is one of their strongest maps in the pool, but how well did they perform in your eyes?
I mean, statistically, every map is the strongest map in their pool.
That's
they're just such a good team, and they've been so electric all year long. But I really got to give credit to Shopify Rebellion here for finding some weaknesses here in the defense coming in from V1 and taking advantage, kind of capitalizing on scenarios. It felt like overall V1 is just sort of playing a little bit differently. I don't really know how to describe it, but when you look at the scoreboard, you'll kind of get what I'm saying. They have been leaning on star power performance from Floor throughout the year. Floor had under 200 ACS this game. I think that might be the lowest throughout all of Game Changers throughout the year for Floor, which is not necessarily a problem in itself, but it's shifting the dynamic of how this roster typically performs. And it felt like other players then had to go, oh, wait, what are we supposed to do now? It's almost like you snapped them out of a coma, like they were in this trance, and now they've realized, like, oh my God, what do we do? And they figured it out in the end, but it definitely wasn't as easy as maybe it could have been.
Yeah, it's certainly different than what we're used to when we watch this team. Like version 1 absolutely had to earn this win. And then we saw the old version 1 in the second half when they started to run away with it. But, you know, in that first half, we weren't really sure which way it was going to go. There were some obviously great performances from the likes of Noya and Sarah, who, again, usually Fluorescent always takes that top slot. So some really nice performances there. You know, we obviously saw that KP had great moments, but in the end, version 1 walked away with it.
And this whole game felt so much slower, like a slow burn, very quiet, Heather, like kind of coming down to small mistakes. Like it was fun to see the pushes off of the harbor from V1 and kind of stupid things like checking your corners.
Yeah, I mean, checking your corners, especially when you have that both that harbor and Viper cutting off all these different areas that, you know, there was a number of times that Shopify was getting shot in the back because they weren't checking a certain corner. And, you know, like Bala pointed out too, the pacing of the game. I think Mel had great control of, you know, Mel talks about having to hold back all those players on the leash, but great control, great leadership, obviously very comfortable on Haven, but nice pacing changes up between Floor dashing in and slowing it down a little more.
Yeah, I think one of the things too that we saw, like you kind of mentioned it a little bit there, is just those little mistakes. It was a lot of clutches that had to happen for V1 to even take this. Yes, maybe if the second half was the first half, the scoreline would have been a little bit more in their favor. But they had to win a couple of big clutches to try to get it to that point even. It was two 1v1s, a 1v2, and a 1v3, all won by V1, which is basically the opposite of the problem from the first map. They were losing those clutches. So yes, they're in those positions and they're besting them, but it's not necessarily a scenario they're typically adjusted to. They don't always end up in clutch scenarios because they have been able to get off to such a strong start in the rounds, typically playing 5v3s in the post plant. So it is a little bit concerning that V1 is maybe hitting a bit of a bumpy road here, but it also proves that Shopify Rebellion is a stronger opponent than I think even V1 was prepared for.
And that is demonstrated in the stats of Shopify Rebellion having so many first bloods. And it's version 1 that have to fight back against that. And so they did. You saw them shooting bodies. And Alexis, taking like an extra 10 seconds to shoot corpses before going for the defuse. I was cackling. And you can tell that version 1 want that game 1 back. So we go to our decider. Let's remind everyone what map we're going to at the end. Remember, everyone, this is the upper final. The winner of this bind map is going to the grand final for thousands of dollars on the line and for a chance to go to the World Championship. I'll start with you, Heather. Interesting compositions, unique agents that can be sometimes selected here.
Yeah, I think both of the teams play very different comps on these maps, but it's worked for them. Both of them have played bind a number of times in this Game Changer so far. Shopify winning pretty decisively over G, version 1 winning pretty decisively over FlyQuest, Newt, other teams on this. So, it's a very different ideas of how they approach the map, but both feel very comfortable on this map as well.
Raze, Sky, Viper, that's the core for these two teams of every map that they play. They will play Raze, Sky, Viper on all of these maps that we're seeing throughout this series. What changes is the agents that bookend the scenario. So as we head to bind, we should see Brim Cypher whereas V1 goes with Astra and Yoru. We will not see, potentially, we could see a pivot, but we should not see a Sentinel come in from V1. It's not the only time they do that. They have a tendency to lean on double duelist, double initiator looks. They don't always bring a Sentinel into the play. I'm curious to see how those two compositions match up against each other, because it does largely feel like Shopify Rebellion plays maybe a little bit more of a standard comp, the Brim Viper. Everyone knows the post-plant setups that you can do with that. You have the Rays for your entries, and you have the Sky Dogs for information, the Cypher locking down the flanks. And then on the flip side, you've got this comp where it's a Yoru who can be kind of a pest. There's a lot of fun things you can do with Yoru on this map, especially around the ports.
And Heather, talking about Fluorescent, we kind of lightly mentioned that she wasn't the MVP, wasn't at the top as she usually is, and she can't be the only person that this team depends on. And now she's going on Yoru, where 70% of the time she's playing Jet. Are you concerned that this lack of experience on Yoru, although you don't get to see it too often, is going to be bane for version 1?
I'm not too worried. I think Floor has been one of the first Game Changers players that actually busted out the Euro, and has had a lot of creativity with the agent. So not necessarily worried, but you know, like you said, it is worrisome in the fact that we're not used to not seeing Floor on top, essentially. So you know, hopefully the team's still obviously remaining confident, and you know, they're gonna feel fired up. They do not want to drop this and head down to the lower bracket.
I do think it's fair to Floor can have an off game after the year that Floor has had, but just to put it in perspective, why we're talking about it so much, Floor averaged 340 ACS this year coming into today. GC1, GC2, GC3 coming into today. So to see it dropping down below 200 in that previous map, this is not what we expect. It's not a bad thing. They're winning the map. It's okay, but it's just different. We weren't prepared for it.
This is a strong map for both of these teams, but only one of them can rise to the top to go to the grand finals. So let's get into it, everyone. I'm sending you over to Doug and Bala.
Thank you so much. One map to decide it all. We've got Yoru. We have a couple of changes on the Shopify Rebellion side, Ball, that caught your eye as well that I wanted to get your thoughts on.
Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. My bad.
It's the wrong time to ask you a question.
Yeah, they did change that to Chamber, to Cypher, which is very interesting. The Yoru, though, is something that they have to deal with. I think Shopify had plans coming into that Haven, so I'm 100% confident in KP, especially on Bind, where I've watched her really work some masterful maps before. The thing that I'm really curious about here is how Shopify's mental is coming into this game, because it makes such a big difference for them on their path towards Sao Paulo, towards Brazil, towards the championship for Game Changers, to make it to this grand finals. That completely puts their fate in their hands, right? They could win, or they could just stop anybody else from making it on points other than themselves. So that just is one more step checked, and they just need one map to do it. It's a big one. That's so close. They can taste it.
Version 1 starting off on the attacking side. We talk about this double duelist comp Floor on the Yoru, who was the topic of some conversation, given the fact that, yeah, I mean, it's hard to ignore 340 ACS or whatever it was all year. Slight dip in performance, but again, the tools here to get back to those ways. They've quietly but surely taken a lot of space into U-Haul. They've also injected Sarah in Hookah. They have a lot of options here.
This is ridiculous.
And it's been quiet.
This is exactly the same type of pace that they started on Haven. And they work magic with it. Yes, Floor tucking her way all the way through. Hiding her gun in the corner.
Saunders surely, actually, excuse me, KP took care of Alexis through teleporter. And that was the relief that Sonder needed, because Sonder was surrounded, and all of a sudden, it's not Shopify who are surrounded and with backs against the ropes. It's Version 1, who have now been corralled onto the site.
Not winning those fights. That smoke from Melt is very good, but got a flank on the Flowerful. They need to get up Heaven. It is planted for them. They need to win this fight. Now, all of a sudden, they can actually challenge this.
Whoa,
she's
not being quiet about it, and it doesn't matter. It's KP who swings back. After Panini gets a kill, she cleans up the last. Saunders going to get the defuse. Another pistol ball going in favor of Shopify.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a major one, too. V1 had all the strings that they needed to pull to win that round. When they got backside, especially after Floor gets that kill, but they get hungry to continue to hoover up some space and fight Showers so heavily. Lose 2 players in the process and force that awkward walk back to backside, awkward fight back through to take spawn when they had control of it already. Type of mid-round mistakes, devastating. Don't forget though, this double duelist, this combination, Version 1 hasn't had mad success on this eco so far. When will it come? Farming the orbs for Floor here, so she can get her dimensional drift online, is very curious. They don't have a breach, they don't have massive combos off of that dimensional drift. No Sova, something like that, where they could use ults in combination.
About to see the value of this Cypher. You've got the cam, you've got the one-way in Showers, you have 2 trips, but actually they just barrel right through it.
That's a Vandal too. Firefall hang on to it.
Yeah, they just flood right out.
I love that.
Nice response from Firefall though, to at least get one. Traded back Noya with the Vandal still. Alexis, 20 HP, Floor still healthy, and it seems like they're gonna flip, or at least attempt to.
Letting that slip again. V1, as soon as they get that gun, that dog comes through, trades kills back and forth, and start to lose fast control. Alexis only with a classic. At least she gets the spike down, but Shopify should be cleaning this up.
A little bit of money. Oh, at least you did die to Roomba. It's a sad way to go. Sonder cleans her up. The diffuse is going to come through, and that's going to be, what, 1 point away from having the ult online round 3.
I'm surprised there that Firefall is holding inside of Hookah with that Vandal. I think that could have changed everything, but instead of resetting once again, that pace, if they slowed it down for a second, if they start allowing that Vandal to work picks in the mid-round, go back in the space that they had instead of forcing things forward, maybe you can make that round work. Instead, everything from Shopify works out. They swing around. Flashes with the Trailblazer perfectly to clean up some kills before forcing that flip. Still some damage done, though. You're absolutely right here. Ghost, Sheriff, this bonus is strong.
I wonder how fast they're going to try to go here. You see the Molly lineup to land right where KP's standing. But they don't hard pressure it. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the map, Floor loses the opener against Sonder.
It's been a rough couple of maps for Floor. Balk was mentioning it. Her ACS over the entire Game Changers this year has been over 300, which is unheard of. Just shows the level she's at in comparison to the field. But in this series, I mean, not having success at all, especially when it comes to those first duels that she's so good at.
Just looking human almost.
Yeah, she's 6 and 7 right now.
Trip clears, gunfire erupts. Mel gets the first. Sarah with the nade and Panini with nowhere to go. Alexis still holding this line. Mel's flashed up to high heaven, couldn't see a dang thing. And now you've got the neural theft through. I mean, this is not secured. The spike is still back in Octagon. That's a big kill, though.
Yeah, huge. That actually helps Mel get some space to work here.
30 seconds left.
Still 2 stars available.
They could flip. Sonder pops the ult. Mel tries to get away.
One enemy remaining.
Somehow stays alive as Noya gets another. They had the option to rotate away. They had the option to take greener pastures, but in fact, this is the field that they want.
Yeah. Well done from Noya, especially. I think
huge.
Giving room to Mel and then allowing Mel to take the bait for that showstopper. Sonder not finding anything. And Shopify, again, forcing, like, kind of on both sides now. Yeah, I like these peaks. Once you get this, these 2 players are isolated, right? They're kind of stuck. Noya can't leave Mel, and Mel can't get back to Noya. So you're in a position where you don't have to continue to force positions out there. Instead, they push in and they lose the opportunity to really go up on a big streak. Instead, Version 1 with that win. Smalley will land Bath.
Yeah, careful.
Fluorescent to maybe TP in and get a push onto it. With the flashes.
I thought that was going to be much faster than it was, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. But that Molly does take some time to land. So
ult's ready.
if you want to do that safely, have to wait for it.
Through.
We'll see what they do with this. This is the first time Floor has the Dimensional Drift online.
Yeah, farming up those orbs for her specifically, so you know there has to be a set plan. Coming out of showers. She doesn't have an extra TP, so really can't. Oh no, it's already placed all the way back to her short.
And she's getting plenty of info. But actually, Mel dying to the molly. And actually, Floor staying, feeling confident in the control that they've established out of A short.
She hit a trip and not TPing out. It must have expired there. And there's no gain at all.
No.
After all of that.
One enemy remaining.
Wow.
Yeah, this is going really sideways for version 1. Excellently done by Shopify. I mean, that was brutal.
Yeah, I'm scratching my head at that one. One player down to the molly. Not quite sure what's going down on that short because we're watching Fluorescent in that dimensional drift, but a little bit of passivity from Floor there. Normally you'd see her definitely come out of that. Try to get a shorty kill, something like that. Instead, just pops her decoy backside and doesn't use it to do anything. When she comes out of that dimensional drift, she's in a trip from Flowerful.
I was hoping we'd get another look at it again, maybe spot something that we've missed, but it's not going to be the case.
The more I see this, the more I love the fact that Flowerful's swapped over to Cypher from Chamber in the prior games because saving all the trip locations hidden from the opponents up to this point is super important. Double satchel, judge forward! Whoa!
I mean, what a setup! Only able to get one, but there were very clear intentions about where Sarah was trying to go.
And Floor got the judge too, so all of a sudden this is definitely a round where V1 could win, but we've seen them in the situations like this. This time they're slowing down though, Doug. This is exactly what I said they needed to do in that last situation.
Well,
slow down, use the guns.
Yeah, but KP's on a flank, and it does not look like there's anybody looking that way. Now Noya turns around. They're going to rotate back in.
There's
the
TP.
timing is insane.
Perfect. Remember last time Shopify went 3 through the TP to finish off Alexis. This time, we coming from spawn and KP going to come from sand.
Sonder spamming through the smokes to try to capture free one. Mel playing close up. No real position of danger yet as Noya gets a spike down. And the hit? Oh, I mean, KP didn't find value on the flank towards A short, but ultimately finds it on Alexis and Hookah.
Last player standing.
KP, 1v1, have to deal with Noya, have to deal with the pin. Noya doesn't have a gun. It's just a classic. Does she dare guess the right way? Creeping forward, getting the kill, getting the round. KP delivers once more.
And you see the vision at the end there with that pit. It holds off elbow, but also allows her to sneak all the way on site and actually get a nice spam angle onto the spike. But KP is just too perfect there. And something I mentioned about the harbor walls in the last map, where every time that went out, V1 would push on the farthest position. Here it's the same thing for KP, right? She comes out of hookah and goes as far away as possible to enter that pit. That makes it really difficult for Noya to read there. Exactly where this player is going to come through.
Oof. Early timeout from version 1 as they find themselves down 3 rounds.
Yep.
Some of them have been close. But KP, I know it's Sandra who's top fragging for Shopify right now, but man, has KP bailed Shopify out of some insane spots this entire series.
They've had 4 clutches so far. I mean, unreal ones too. Huge moments. Ending out that first map. These types of situations where KP is just on one is so nice to see. And you could see it also reflect inside of the IGL too. Shopify feels like they're 2 steps ahead on all 3 maps, to be honest. I'll be real with you there. Despite V1 winning Haven. And we're looking at a scoreline that's very similar. Despite not winning the bonus this time, we're seeing very similar scoreline to Split. Where Shopify was able to close it out. Insta Astro Wall here, maybe. Especially if anything found off the dog where they can showstop her off that position. But there's only Flowerful. She's playing so far back.
This time it's Mel who's reading the flank, but you can't consider both.
Sabui just got this kill through this double wall, basically. And I think it's because the Cosmic Divide blocked the sound of the TP there from Sabui.
Oh, wow.
So Noya on the flank, just completely unaware of that.
Version 1 looking to push forward a little bit. The Orbital Strike is going to actually push Floor back and section them off. if they want to continue to scale forward into spawn, they're going to have to deal with a brutal cross. KP on the flash. Time's confirmed. Meanwhile, Floor's getting a little bit of value. Not much more, and there it is. They're trying to scale out into spawn and trying to disrupt what Shopify are doing. That's exactly what Alexis does.
It's not planted for, is it? Yeah, it is. It's for the backside here. Flash.
Panini
Panini gets off.
halfway there.
What?
Alexis not able to do anything with it as Panini just swings it, destroys her. 47 HP, sure. But another clutch instance going in favor of Shopify.
Where's the jiggle there? Off of the flash.
One enemy
Alexis
remaining.
must have thought that she was still sticking. That's crazy.
One enemy remaining.
A heroic effort, too. And they win, ultimately, that battle in spawn, which I think Shopify did such a good job pinching them and holding them forward there.
Agreed.
Knowing that that was going to be the win condition for V1. If they can get to spawn, then they win the round. Once again, it looks like we're going to see Molly on Bath, but this time nobody pressuring Bath. And this is an eco that V1 has been finding success, just not quite enough to take it all over the edge.
This time there was a deep flash out from KP2 all the way through showers to make sure no presence was there while they leave Subui here to hold the line. Version1 looking to
TP
push forward
backside.
up through short. KP's the first to fall. The timing on this is going to be excellent from Noy if they're patient with it.
Bullets.
I mean, Saunders surrounded. Yeah, Saunders dead.
Yeah, and look at the difference here. This time they have sight, they have lamps, they have everything. And the guns, too, that they're going to be able to collect. Much, much better. Look at this eco, which they've had success multiple times just hitting this A site.
This round seems, for all intents and purposes, secured. A 4v2, a rifle in the hands of Mel. Astra utility littering the site. Noy in a position to perhaps upgrade another weapon if they're patient with it. If they're cautious with it.
Yeah, they're going to fall off here.
Yeah.
After that. Bravo.
Enemy
Players
remaining.
here, too. Yeah, that's beautiful. Calling to
Very
rotate
nicely
off.
done.
Noya's going to peek that. She gets a Vandal and gets out, too. That's a very nice round from V1 and something that could get them back in this game right now.
Yeah, talk about min-maxing the closing few moments of that round.
And that's something they're going to start to abuse on the gun rounds, too, because they've had multiple rounds where it's successful hitting this site fast with some sort of dive. And the problem here for Shopify, it's either the Yoru or it's the Raze. Sarah's got over top of truck in some instances. This time, Floor flashes backside, TP's backside. I think probably paired up with Alexis's flash as well.
Well, and the crazy thing, too, is that's going into the teeth of the Cypher setup.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not even like that's an additional layer, but all of that said, Shopify still hang on to this lead.
The Cypher setup's interesting, though, because you do actually have the Decoy and the Trailblazer that can break that.
Right.
And if you're properly protecting those two pieces of util, that Cypher setup's not doing much. Ooh, we got the Nats pit over on Shopify on B. That looks like where V1 want to hit with this dimensional drift. I wonder if there's a fake potential as well. Oh, what a can.
Look at that setup.
What a can.
Good luck getting through that.
This pit covers both long and hookah and even puts a little gap in both places to hide in. How do you get through? How are you even thinking about going through this? With the drift, you can spam.
Drift. Yeah. The thing is, I don't know how much room you're going to get to follow up. Right? I think that's part of the
Find
issue.
the Viper.
Floor can
There's
get
the
in.
spam. Yep, perfect.
That's so nicely done.
That's perfect. I actually thought the Shopify was going to fall out of that pit and completely give up on it when that dimensional drift came out. Problem is still going to be getting through. Yeah, they have to now. No damage done at all. Yeah. That's a great call from V1. I was doubting them as they approached. But yeah, that's just the key counter. Viper versus Yoru in this situation. Panini actually was not found from Floor the first dive through. But then when she comes back in the pit, Floor also finds her. And is desperate, running around from Panini. Just spam the body of the Yoru, your teammate.
Easy now. That's big. That's so big. Look at their money. I thought the third was going to fall. Sonder is the only one to keep a weapon through all of that.
Yeah, they would have been able to buy there.
Yeah.
Had it been 3 rifles. But losing 1, let alone 2.
We'll take a look at it once more. You see Alexis able to get the shots out on Panini because of the heat-seeking player that was Floor.
And then the double satchel there from Sarah, too, was really nice on top of the box. The other player who was playing B, Flowerful, got pushed out of the pit. Completely not expecting that angle from Sarah.
2-round lead for Shopify. Vandal in the hands of Panini, but that's really all it is. And it seems like they've flipped the Cypher setup. It's back towards A.
Yeah. Where I think they had more success, but I think V1 also knows it's probably a place where they can end up punishing even further. Oh, denying this so much. Using a molly on this eco, too, from Sabui. TP all the way back to the other side of the map for Floor so she can hold a little longer.
Perhaps
so there's no extra pushes.
Interesting. She faked the sound on the first, dropped the second gate crash, and is now pushing forward.
Crazy one to spawn, too. If there was a push, maybe they hear that sound cue.
Yeah.
But also just waiting for that one to elapse. She starts to enter.
All of the mental gymnastics we just did, thinking about the gate crashes and what Floor was thinking and what she was doing, was all fine and dandy. But actually, hang on. A rifle in the hands of Panini. 3v2.
She took the TP. Now she's behind Panini. This is beautiful.
That's crazy, bro. This late flank.
I just love seeing instant gratification off of a crazy thing where you're like, what the heck is this?
What is going on?
And then you're like, oh, okay, that's what it is.
Floor even gets a kill for it, too. Alexis wise, understanding. Didn't have to take the fight, knowing that Floor was going to be hot to trot. Gets a kill, and this is another pretty round for version 1. Yeah, it was on a light buy from Shopify, but you see some of the cool ideas that they're trying to execute with this Yoru specifically.
Yeah. And that's the type of round that really messes with your brain when you play against a Yoru, right? It's
yeah.
Like, what the heck is that TP? Yeah. That's a lineup, too. She was all the way in the corner on long. That was a timeout for Shopify. This hit's, again, beautiful from Sarah, right? Double sashing on top of that box, continuously getting elevation.
It's the last of them.
The feints that V1 are able to start working with are so strong. It's insane. The long pressure that they're putting on, Shopify is struggling to hold on to that, even when they're having KP, Sabui, all those players over towards that position. And then also just the fast hits that they're throwing out at them, too. I wouldn't be surprised to see out of a timeout immediately them go right back into some fast set play. Especially maybe over towards B. We haven't seen quite a few over there. They've definitely had success on A. But I'd be worried about, out of this timeout, having a different setup that you have to face. Having them be well prepared against the double satchels and TP's backside. Because that's the win condition on that A side. Hold the back of sight for Shopify. If they can do that, then they can work their way back. Because V1, when they don't have space, they feel constricted. And they end up over pushing to get extra.
That's a big if, too, to try to hunker down and hold backside on A.
No fast play. And they have the tools for it, too. Sarah with her showstopper, Alexis with her seekers. But now that this Yoru is cooking, Mel's probably thinking the same sort of thing. How to get max value out of the TPs. That molly is missed. I wonder if that's been missing multiple times now for V1.
And KP gets ahead of it a little bit. Maybe, yeah. Deep nade out. Floor waiting on the other side of the smoke. You see that star by the teleporter as well.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, look at this reclear coming into hookah with 3 instead of holding on to long right now. Could definitely punish, especially because the spike is here right here.
Yeah, but, Floor pulled back. I think they understand there's some pressure mid here. Well, never mind. No, he didn't. Knife out.
They were going to go for a fake. Yeah, with this Cosmic Divide, the showstopper, they were going to go for a fake. Now it's a weird position. Oh, the timing for Alexis.
It's not getting any better, is it?
And the funny part is, yeah, the fake is going to work here.
30
But then there's
seconds
going to be 2 double flanks coming in. Mel is so deep, too.
Yeah. It's Sarah is all the way up in U-Haul. If they play this well, there's a shot at this, but this looks like a mess for V1.
Oh,
Floor has to find value. Has to find value. Oh my gosh, value found! Sarah shows up at the right time too.
And the perfect timing on the TP as well to drag that attention. At people tunnel. They've got the grab well. They've got a nade from Sarah too with 2 frags.
What an insane turnaround. This looked all but lost. Now Version1 have fought their way back into it.
Oh, the stun. Get away. No more cages either. Has to find both kills.
With time short. Not even able to land onto the first as Sarah has an enormous round. I mean, that looked bad. That looked rough for V1.
Yeah.
How they navigated that so well is beyond me.
It's always these rounds where it's just thrown in the cog. It makes it so difficult. You can actually see as Shopify comes around that corner, they are curious about people holding angles on them.
The first 2 weren't, but yeah.
No, even the first 2, they were running out checking left instead of, just walking forward to go to hookah and go for the retake, right? They still had intention around that. Just not the right corner. And in those situations, they're pure chaotic. You can't really get on the same page super fast. So interesting to see V1 multiple times try to go for that triple peek down on long before that smoke ends up going there.
Well, I wonder if they're just trying to catch a quick pick with the Viper Spit from Noya, which it seemed like there it did tag KP a little bit. But yeah, quick vulnerable, quick.
Well, that's gross. You call it the Viper Spit? Yeah.
Actually, that was from Fnatic. This is where I picked that up, to be honest with you. Makes a lot of sense. Either way, Version1 pushing forward. Sarah trying to wrap around into showers and does.
Yeah,
clearing out a trip in the process.
She's a human decoy. Breaking trips right there.
See the flash setup from Alexis. Thinks twice about it, commits to the plan.
Why does the Jet get whiplash on the trips, but the Razes don't?
Yeah,
Food for thought.
Speaking of food for thought, Panini on the flank, just the Sheriff. Pushing forward towards short as Flowerful falls. Hit the timing on this, keep quiet about it, maybe you get a free one. Just continuing to cause problems, never mind. I mean, Version1 has just played a lot of these could be potentially dangerous rounds so well.
Yeah. Yeah, they have. And I think here, this is one where they haven't really lost any of those crucial ecos, anything like that. They're making these rounds that they're winning. Some of them super flawless, especially these anti-ecos towards the tail end here.
The crazy thing is, too, is all of that said, it's still a close game.
Yeah.
It's still just one round separating the two, and it's really because of the heroics that Version1 have put together in the last 5 rounds.
Yeah. Well, I think actually after that Shopify timeout that we had, the open book that Shopify had with all of V1 strats, I don't know, it's been burned. Because V1 is completely shifted, right? They're playing very nice Valorant right now. Very, very fun with the Yoru decoys going around, the TPs coming all around. Sometimes the fakes from Mel with the Cosmic Divide. Sarah has been completely abusing that smoke having a little bit of a gap. If Sabui goes at slightly more shallow, then there's no gap at all. But because Sarah's noticed it, especially now that she has extra money for the op in the final round, it's just too perfect. So she gets the kill, drops the op, and now ready the entry. Going from hookah this time, though. Boombot coming through as well. There's a nade potentially primed here for Sandra. They've got the showstopper, too. This is dangerous to walk into.
And the orbital strike. Well, they had the orbital strike.
Oh,
Showstopper goes off, and that doesn't find any value either. Whatever tools Shopify had to try to keep this competitive seem to have been nullified, with the exception of Flowerful, who's now left in a 1v3. Never mind, she's dead. Panini now. The only one who can do something about this.
Yeah,
Mel's going to commit. Yeah, Mel's going to commit to the plan. At best, you get one there. But Version1, the second half of this first half has been beautiful for them. Second quarter, yeah. I know, I got you.
I wasn't going to say anything. I make that mistake. That's the funniest thing. I always love to talk about the second half of the first half.
I mean, you see it on the timeline, though. 6 rounds in a row to close out that first half. Version1 have taken full control of this map.
Yeah, absolutely. I think things are a lot more difficult here to work the Yoru into great positions, but this one has been a masterclass.
Yeah.
I think especially there, Floor kind of using her life to bait out some of the util that was coming from Shopify. I pointed out the nade coming from Sonder, the showstopper. Sarah put that down very quickly. But it's different. Yori's TP is all the way for a fast rotate. Heaven, they've left Noya completely alone on that site. Out of bounds flash is beautiful, but this is getting punished.
Yes, it is. Through all of that KP, no damage taken.
And they're going to run it down on the other side, I think. Spotting Sarah, also a flash from Alexis, maybe? So they know this. Probably only one here.
Sarah and Alexis both rotating over. Just Sarah that's weak as Noya falls. The only line of defense that was left on the site. Nini with the spam through some smokes, not connecting on anything. Flowerful with a lot to deal with. Yeah, that was the easy one. That was the weak one. Alexis does not follow up. You're flashed up. You can't see a thing. Shopify get the second pistol.
They've been so good on pistols throughout this entire series. So fantastic. And that's another one, too. Plenty of people playing anti there. Against this push, and the Trailblazers stunning both.
That's crazy.
One enemy remaining.
Not allowed. I think the big mistake here, though, for me is Noya playing on this A site. She had a very safe position. And actually, once the fight goes down, she drops down into lamps and takes a fight rather than staying alive backside for her team. Yeah, holding on to lamps is a huge win. But if you lose it, then yeah, exactly. You can play backtrack a lot safer there.
Shopify expecting something aggressive. Look at the fact that they're still posted up back towards spawn. You've got the Cypher Cam and a Trip staring down A short.
Blinded.
But version 1 actually spread out pretty standard fashion here in this pistol. This eco.
Mel with the cheeky shorty inside the tube. Fluorescent can try to bait for her, maybe pick up a gun. I don't see a star place though, so something she can quite play off of after the fact.
I mean, and I get it, but Shopify are playing this
whoa.
carefully. That's
double
huge.
TP, what? A nade kill in a classic. And Floor's creeping up as well to help Noya maybe get out of this position. Star as well expended. Alexis has gotten deep here. I don't know if they check this corner.
Do they? Does KP dare look? Yep. A little bit of doubt. Flower is the one who cleans up the kill.
Yeah, too disciplined.
It really felt like Shopify were reasonably so, showing a lot of respect for version 1 in that round, making sure everything was careful, everything was cautious and considered. But it was the fast pop from version 1 that have gotten this to the competitive situation. Floor is a Vandal. Noya still as a judge. Problem is they don't have any armor. Shopify much healthier. There you see the value of not having any armor.
And on the Giga flank too. Oh, she's been hurt. She's been hurt.
19 HP. No, it's nothing but a classic.
Whoa.
They don't know. Oh, she's giving the position away, but she gets the kill anyway.
And the
Oh,
Molly
that could have been
didn't go on the
disaster.
spike either. Plenty of time anyways. Could have been a disaster. It was a disaster.
Thrifty.
For Shopify, this one is not how it should have gone. Especially after they make that TP. I think that TP, they were well primed to continue to hold on to that round. Taking out Alexis, knowing the rest of the players are here on that B site. I think the safety of that plant from Sabui actually puts them in such a rough spot where the rest of the team is trying to get out and play better post-plant positions as well, where they cannot protect them. Forces her to get off and not help, and that's when Fluorescent strikes.
The lifeline that Shopify had off of winning the pistol is all but gone.
Earlier on in the series, it was V1 losing rounds like that. Now on this map, they've won 2 ecos. Once in the first half, once here.
Shopify trying to creep up behind the Viper wall. Aruba's going to cause... Oh, they've slipped the net. They're behind it. Sarah has no idea.
Wow. And that orb actually denied info. She would have spotted Fireful crossing. She knows, though, that there could be people inside of this.
So carefully considered.
Falling all the way back. Floor had as well. TP'd over to the safe side.
Oh, Oh, she might stay a little. Note here, Sarah in the position that she's in. Now Floor is going to rotate back heaven to be able to help. Seems like they're going to stay.
Spike down A.
Mel gets the first as Floor swings out as well. Sonder plays her time right. Actually, she's just going to be waiting for someone to push her with the shorty. The gun advantage here is just going to be too much for version 1.
Yeah, losing the spike front side too. Oh, Orb actually might help her grab that.
Sonder hasn't moved an inch.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, they're gonna TP. Sonder. Yeah, you're right. Gotta look the other way now, and with this Molly, they're just gonna get delayed too much.
There's a lot
Can't
for
jump
Noe to
onto
do
it.
here. Can Sonder get one? Oh, the timing. Oh, the timing.
Remaining. Spike down B.
Oh, that could have been something. But instead, just as narrowly as it could have been something, it turns into nothing. It turns into another round for version 1.
Yeah, roving way too far forward there. After holding spawn for like literally 2 minutes.
Yeah,
It
what
feels
felt
like
like
the
2 minutes,
entire
yeah.
round timer. It's like, oh, I've been doing that job for so long, I forget what it's like to look the other way. That's unlucky.
And then knife out, too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she didn't even really consider that there was a possibility until she pulled her knife out and she's like, wait a second. This is wrong. This feels wrong.
Sabui with the orbital strike. Shopify down 3. And aggression for version 1. Look at that flash. Not able to land the second shot, but Sarah and Alexis join in on the fun.
And 4v2 now. You might have thought there was an extra trade there from Shopify. No, but they just get decimated. Absolutely decimated. Recover the spike. Flowerful and Panini are 2 players that definitely have tools to work the map still against this V1 squad. But the full rotate actually called over towards Noya's position. Shopify way too scared to like walk back through hookah or try to fight long when that's where we just know people came from.
Toxin screen down.
They're all here, and that flash from Alexis down towards V-Long is going to confirm that there's no one else that way. Securing the suspicions and confirming the possibility for version 1 that they're A.
Look at Sarah's position holding the walk up, which is
Yeah.
what Shopify want to try to do, is try to get a pick before this plant goes down, but they're not getting anything. Clearing bath now, that's allowing, no, they're going to go for it.
Right there.
Bell on the swing, Bell on the
Oh,
pop. That
30
was
seconds
ambitious. Sarah's nade should hit its mark.
Enemy remaining.
But that doesn't. The gun will. Sarah with 3 on the round as version 1 get to 10. And this feels like it's running out of control for Shopify very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Now they force back to an eco.
Right.
You got Sarah with her ults. All the ideas from V1 are working. Final timeout called from them too, which was a major success point in them getting over the line on split. It's that final timeout that they were able to call at 12-11. This one, though, I mean, this feels like vintage V1.
Yep.
Not letting this series slip, not letting a grand final slip. The core of Alexis and Mel, I mean, they've made it almost every time through the upper bracket into that grand finals. They have so many titles in North American Game Changers. I mean, those 2 players in particular have not lost a single North American Game Changers.
It's a pretty outrageous accolades.
It's ridiculous. And now they've added already 2 this year with this new team, with Sarah, Flores, and Noya. International roster, too, with Noya's addition. And they don't look to stop right here against Shopify. Despite, you know, Shopify especially being the ones, thinking back to last year against Cloud9 White, right? Being the first ones to take a map off them, then being the first ones to take a series off them, then to eliminate them for the first time from a tournament at the International Championship at the end of the year. Here again, taking the first map ever off of V1. But just as it stands right now, not quite able to get it over the line to close out a full series.
I mean, 9 of the last 10 rounds, Bala, have gone in favor of version 1.
And remember how Haven ended too, right? It was only 2 rounds for Shopify on that defense on that second half.
Those numbers are just ridiculous. Version 1 seemingly set on putting together another masterful performance on Bind to close this series out. Buy for Shopify, not great, but they've committed out onto the site. And they've drawn out the ult from Sarah. What's the plan after this, though? Sarah's in trouble. Sarah's surrounded. Sarah's dead.
One thing there, the decoy went through the TP from Fluorescent. They're using that for info. They're really hoping that they're going to shoot that decoy. And if they do, Sarah knows how to play that situation. But because they didn't, she has to watch two sides, and that's way too much for one person to handle. Here's the dimensional drifts. Orbital strike and post-spawn available here. V1 is going for this hard.
2 spotted. Does she have an out?
What?
That was insane. She had to commit to it. She had no way out. So KP cleans her up. Noya pushes forward with the judge, gets another. A 1v2, but Shibui has the orbital strike.
Still time, though. Still time here. For them to get a defuse, a full defuse. With the Cosmic Divide falling, though, is there a second smoke? No.
It had gotten out to half. That's going to hurt. Mel, 70 HP. She has to be careful with the 3 bullets left. She gets the kill. Is she going to get the defuse? Oh, it's so close. .35. That was the difference makers. Version 1 get to 11.
That's tough. That is tough.
Heartbreaking.
Shibui's been in so many close situations.
One enemy remaining.
And I mean, V1 going for that, yeah. Shopify, not exactly the best of buys. But in a 5v5 retake, when they have Orbital Strike, when they have everything, when they've already gotten a kill onto Sarah, they still go for that. I like the ideas, too, with the Dimensional Drift and the Cosmic Divide. Makes it hard for them to really pinpoint where Fluorescent's coming out with the noise completely blocked now.
Right.
That combination gets a little stronger. Still for got picked off immediately, but it bought time for more to come through, and that's an early pick. Finally, Alexis getting punished all along, much like they were trying to do against KP on that attack side for them.
Short memory, quickly forgotten. Previous round is again an opener. Alexis falling up in the hands of Sarah here. And it seems like that's where the spike wants to go.
Late orb coming down on A short, which could be an indicator of things to come. Could telegraph the play here from Shopify.
Train, crosshair placed, and shot delivered. Panini falls. That's both controllers. I mean, what do you do with that as Mel just dances around the smoke?
That's a ridiculous turn on the flash, too.
Mm-hmm.
Everything shut down. Flowerful again left. In a clutch situation with Sonder this time.
30 seconds left.
And it doesn't even really look like they have an idea of what they do. Just a couple pauses here.
Yeah.
Thrown in. Noe is so far advanced with the judge, too. She'll hear anything coming through hookah. They're really comfortable to stack the remaining 3 players towards this A side with the operator, too.
Remaining.
So, you don't got to go for more.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
What is that movement, too?
Version 1 gets a series point, and Ball, I've got to remind people at home, that was off of an opener onto Alexis.
Yeah.
Shopify had the numbers advantage. That's huge. Mel had a massive play here.
I think one of the things, like I said, they telegraphed with that orb dropping down. Allows way too many people to be there, and Mel can play up close, denying any chance of getting through that.
They recover the op back into the hands of Sarah.
And this is
one
broken
round
by
away.
here. Broken by from Shopify.
Yeah.
We might have seen one streak come to an end in the flawless maps and series wins from V1. But there's still a very, very healthy streak from V1 with this 21 series in a row. Today might mark 22.
Just a round away from extending that streak. Sarah with the op. A couple of members of Shopify down long. And Nate seemed a little funny. I don't know if it got out where it wanted to, but Sonder goes out with the ult. Tries to land the shot. Sonder does, actually. She gets both. Alexis on the counter. Holy smokes. What was that? 2v2. Spike out on site. Noy is going to be on the flank and as a judge. And Mel, who was the hero in the previous round, with an opportunity to do it again. Can they secure this 2v2? Sonder has a nade. Look at how far back Mel is playing. Concerned that they're scaling into spawn.
Noya only has, oh my goodness, there's a Cosmic Divide.
Yeah.
Elbow, long, blocked. Everything blocked right now. Noya drops out. There's a judge on the side. It's going to be really hard to get through this.
Oh, the Molly's even better. KP has a flash. Sonder has a nade. Mel got it to half. The satchel to push him off once more.
Nothing left.
They've got to swing. They've got to swing now. That's exactly what they do. It's an ace for Sonder to keep Shopify alive.
That is crazy. It looked for a second to me that Noya had the judge perfectly positioned to stop them from coming through, but somebody actually gets behind her somehow. And that could have been the end, but instead, Sonder with some heroics. I really think the resurgence from Shopify has been, in part, due to Sonder being incredible in Game Changer Series 3. And that round shows exactly why I think that.
Anything to stay alive here for Shopify. Early pit used. Noya towards a short. Floor has to give the space up.
So Flash can get back in there. Double flash.
That's so bold.
Whoa!
That's a pit down.
And a pick onto Alexis.
The money's not great for V1. So they've got a shot at this as Sabui cleans up floor. Just the op in the hands of Sarah.
Oh, Mel is committed to this.
Punches back a little bit. There's how is she?
I like the heart there.
Yeah, I respect it.
That's nice. Had an opportunity to cross, but looking for more because it was a 2v4.
Yeah. Sarah dropped the op. Picked up her rifles. Seems like she's going to try to make a play on this round.
Yeah. I think especially when you're up this much, try to do as much damage as possible. If you can find a round where you end up having it as a broken. Oh.
No way.
What are you, an Olympic long jumper? What are you doing?
It would have been cool though. I mean, she was close.
Quadruple high low.
Quadruple face, yeah. Shopify hang around. They get to 8. The money's looking okay. Got a couple of ults here too. Panini's pit, Flowerful's ult, and a broken buy for V1.
Yeah, talk about the difference between this situation from on Bind here, where it's 4 rounds to come back here for Shopify, compared to when you asked me in that last map how many buys V1's going to be able to get. It's completely different this time.
Yeah.
This is V1 the entire way are going to be struggling if Shopify brings this back 4 rounds in a row. But we've seen it before. Version 1 have already won 2 ecos on this map.
Floor with a Guardian. And they've all crept up A. That's a clean kill. I mean, that was a pit.
And that's a Vandal given to Sarah, too, who's been absolutely on one this series.
Yeah,
Alexis and Floor here.
Slams her shins into the box because she was flashed up, still gets a kill. Anyway, Alexis dancing around. Can't find any more value. It was a rough start, but Shopify stabilized. Invest the neural theft, too.
Oh!
Mel's got to run at this.
And Sarah has a rifle, too. Double satchel as well.
And Roomba.
Player standing.
Never mind.
Oh, she's dead. Mel, 1v3, 85 HP. Nothing but a sheriff.
Obscuring vision.
Time ticks away. Instantly, the spam riddles through. 1. Not anymore. Whew. That's all it was. Shopify get the 9th.
If you see one of my creatures, it's a good thing, all right?
Starting to get a little worried here for V1. Shopify look poised right now. They're making the right calls. Players are heating up. Bunch of ults available now, too. Whereas V1, I think it feels like maybe they're getting over-eager to close this game out.
Can Shopify keep their cool? Take this around at a time and bring this thing back. Note the ults are a couple scattered across both teams.
Blinded.
Early flash, Sarah. No op this time.
Time to hunt.
Oh, that's aggressive. Floor takes the clone through, swings out. That's the ult.
Yeah, last time Floor just sent her decoy because she didn't have a TP, a way to get out of that.
Right.
It's interesting to see V1 never use the short TP, instead always using a long one for Floor. And with the amount of pressure Shopify's been bringing these last couple of rounds to Hookah, I wonder if that's something they could add to their repertoire.
I mean, I like Floor's setup because it allows you to cover, what, 3 areas of the map? Alexis has been pushed out. Orbital strike forced her out of that angle, and Sandra's ahead of it. Alexis has way too many things to deal with. Sandra on the swing, Floor on the trade. Way up, playing back sight, trying to carefully and quietly slip her way forward. Numbers advantage in favor of Shopify as they flip the map.
How lucky is it that there's a trip here for bathroom? You never see this sort of thing.
No,
And
not
Mel's
at
going to
all.
be stuck.
30 seconds left.
Another long jump attempt. All right, this one actually could be successful. Oh.
Admirable attempt.
Judges, what's the score?
You gotta give that like a 6 for trying. Pit's still up. You see the spam starting to come through as the spike ticks away. Panini's Pit causing all of these problems as Noya tries to creep forward with a Phantom.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I think they think that Pit is flush.
The Pit's a big one. That's gonna go down, but it's still a 2v2, and they don't have any U-Haul control, but Noya doesn't care. KP has to be the hero once more. 1 down, 8 bullets. Mel gonna get it to half. Rolls off! KP is the hero again! I cannot believe it! The Red Bull clutch for Shopify!
Make sure to follow
How
my
does KP do it?
It's unreal. I think that's their 4th clutch in this series. Their 4th Red Bull clutch. Multiple 1v2s on split.
One enemy remaining.
And here again, another one. Absolute hero.
KP had 1 bullet left when that kill happened. 1. Just unreal.
This starts to feel like split on just on the flip side, right? Where
Yeah.
Shopify is the one with the comeback and V1. Still 2 chances to put this away. And notice,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't believe before when you said you were starting to get worried, but I believe it now.
Toxins going up.
it's already gone for this eco. This exact one where Sarah did get a kill. This time not with the Sheriff and they fall off. Look at the control gain though. Instead of pushing for kills, they actually funneled every single Shopify player into B-Long and into what looks like a stack here from V1. Only
Have
Mel
the
on the other
TP.
side of the map. Love this. Great use of the Seekers right here for KP to actually gain some space back and force Sarah to give up that control. With 50 seconds left, that means Shopify now can explore the map.
2 sent through teleporter. The spike taking the long way around through spawn. Look at this cross. The problem is you have to deal with what's happening short
Whoa,
too. Floor's got to get out quickly so she can help as Mel's able to take care of Sandra at first. Now the push coming out through short. The conflict divides invested, but they're already ahead of it. Floor and Sarah get 2. KP and Flower left alone, and of course it's Floor for the 3rd time this year. Version 1 are grand finals bound.
And every single attempt successful for them too. They've already qualified for the championship international. Yet they just want to have the icing on the cake. Alexis and Mel, every single grand finals appearance in North American Game Changers. And we're going to watch that one more time because this cross dirty. But the final moments here too. Chaos with 30 seconds left. And Floor hits that on the Thrifty.
Unreal. It just Floor being Floor to close things out. Again, who else but Floor in a situation like that? Man, Shopify, they made one hell of a run at it at the end of that map. Man.
Strong
There's
attempt.
nothing to be ashamed of.
Strong attempt. And like I said, you know, they were the ones who really put in some chips at that Cloud9 White dynasty that formed last year. And here they are again, starting to chip away at this as well from this V1 squad. 1 map down, they were on a crazy streak. But now, we still look to this. V1 has never lost a series. There's still a streak ongoing. 22 wins in a row is absolutely absurd here in Game Changers.
Shopify showed that they might bleed, even if it's just a small cut. But they do bleed, ultimately falling to Version 1, taking a trip down to the lower bracket. We're going to throw it over to the desk to break down that series. There's a lot to talk about.
Thank you so much, Doug and Bala. Yes, we have our first grand finalists of GC3. Big congratulations to Version 1 after that grueling Game 3. They are guaranteed a minimum of $10,000 going into that grand finals. And our reward, what we got to watch, of course, is that we got an incredible series after all. Bach, just Version 1, intelligent. intelligent players. They can call things out and they come up with ideas with how to fix things. They just almost come off like a second half kind of team.
Watching this game, it was very clear that homework was done in preparation for V1, and you can't really be surprised by that. When you're the king, everyone is coming for you. You have to be prepared for counter-stratting, but that has a limit. There is a ceiling to the efficacy of trying to counter-strat or anti-strat against a team. And when you have a team like V1 led by the brilliant mind of Mel, there is the ability to be a little bit more dynamic and adjust on the fly. And that's why if you actually look at maps 1, 2, and 3, the first half was always more successful for Shopify Rebellion than the second half.
Yeah, exactly. That's really the story of this match, right? Is they started off strong. Shopify has a lot of momentum, but we actually saw this in the Effie's interview a couple days ago that said, you know, his IGL Mel knows how to be that very dynamic caller, calling things they maybe have never done before, just to catch the team off. So, just incredible performance from V1. Like so many clutches too throughout the series. It was some insane moments. Of course it's Floor that has to close it out in that amazing sheriff round.
We had so many like aim lab flick of the days to try and pick from. We have so many options from this series alone, and this is only the first series of the day. We still have another one, and of course our duelists at the very top. But Heather, Version 1 are the star-studded roster. So many people clutched up, and even if their KD wasn't all the way up there, their impact was felt. But one person in particular was Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah, especially on this map, had a hell of a performance. But look at that. Every single map better and better in ACS, and finishing out Bind just over 300 ACS. Sarah was a huge part of you know, I'm going to say quote unquote these comebacks where it was kind of a 6-7 or 6-6, 7-5 half. And then Sarah had so many incredible like 3K, 4K rounds, clutch moments, incredible performance from this secondary duelist for the team.
I love the fact that for the first time in a long time, this graphic isn't Floor. And that's not to take a jab at Floor. It's just like, it's cool to see the other players from V1 prove that they're not just riding her coattails or hiding in her shadow. There is capability of everyone on this roster. And we've seen that to a certain extent, especially in this one. You mentioned the clutches. There was 10 between the first two maps alone across both teams. That represents like 22% of the rounds played ending in clutches. So, and that's clutches 1. That's not even factoring in the ones that didn't even end up successful. So I love the fact that we get to see some of the other names kind of get their moment in the spotlight, because these players are all so good on V1. They all have the ability to step up. That's what makes them so good.
Yeah, and I did want to give some like quick props to Sonder too. Like Saunders' second half performance was the reason that went down to the wire there, and we were almost looking at OT. But you know, one of the youngest players on the team, Sonder, had an incredible performance there and almost gave her team a chance. But in the end, Version 1 is yet again in the grand finals.
So back and forth, but hey, like the caster said, Version 1 apparently can bleed and can be beatable, but not today. We'll see what happens in the grand finals, though. It's not the end of Shopify Rebellion if you're a fan. They drop down to the lower bracket, as the caster said, to face the winner of Complexity versus EG. That match is around the corner, but please don't go anywhere, because I'm going to have an interview with Mel from Version 1 to see how the leash is holding up for everybody, because at least they got a win at the end. But in the meantime, please enjoy these Prime Gaming post-match highlights. See you after this. back, everyone, to Game Changers. This is your Verizon post-match interview with none other than Mel from Version1. Ta-da! Transition. Wow. Hi, Mel. Congratulations on the win. What a match.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure.
We had so much fun watching you. How did your team take that initial kind of game 1 loss, and how did you move forward from that? That was the big thing that stood out to everyone today.
Yeah, first of all, props to SR for taking a map off us. It's something that a lot of teams have struggled to do this year, and I feel like it's something that we've tried really hard to maintain, but complete utter props to them. They outplayed us, they won some important clutch rounds, they abused our gaps. We lost so many man advantages, they had some great clutches, so all props go to them, full respect to SR. Although I think that we fumbled a lot of rounds, and there was a lot of hero rounds, and man advantages we didn't close out. I think that helped us get into map 2, because we're like, hey, we barely lost like 13-11, and that's because we threw man advantages and we lost a couple clutches, so it was easy to move on after. And plus, in a way, it's kind of like nice to have the pressure off us before Brazil, because having that map taken off us before Brazil, it's not like we're trying to maintain that win streak anymore. Yeah. Or the pressure is off in that regard, so it wasn't that bad, honestly. It was pretty easy for us to go next map.
So that pressure is off, and now the pressure's back on because you're going to the finals, but at least your spot is secured no matter what. And even though you went through those challenges in that series, it felt like you guys were scaling and performing better as time goes on. And the desk kind of noted that you seem like a second half type of team. What sort of adaptations did you come up with in the second half of these maps?
If I'm completely honest with you, one of the timeouts, Effie's had to take attack and just be like, guys, like, let's just get our energy up and let's just talk to each other and listen to each other. At the end of the day, this match doesn't matter for us in terms of qualification. In a sense, it's just proceeding. You guys don't need to put so much pressure on yourselves, and you kind of lifted that burden off of us in a sense, because we all were like, loosening up and laughing. It's pretty much what he told us to do. So after that point, I think it was on Bind, you could tell when he took that tack and when we started loosening up and just having more fun with it and playing it more like a ranked game, to be honest.
We could tell the ranked game vibes, the fun vibes. When y'all were shooting bodies, I was cackling in the green room. Was there like a lot of confidence regained in that game too, and you guys were able to loosen up because of that coach? And then did that kind of help you perform that much better when you took that pressure off after talking to the coach?
Yeah, 100%. Loosening up and just playing to have fun, because from our POV, Shopify needs to win this game, and so the pressure's in reality all on them, because if they want to control their destiny and their fate to qualify to Brazil, they need to win. And they didn't end up winning. And for us, it's like, we're already to Brazil. This is mostly for seeding and money. And not to say we don't want to win. Of course we want to, but it just helps us take that pressure off. You know what I mean? And it's honestly fine to me getting this rep taking a loss before Brazil instead of having like a perfect run and feeling like we don't make any mistakes. So I'm complete props to SR for punishing us and winning that first map and taking us to the limit, really.
Yeah, and it was exciting for us, and now you know sort of what to review to go back to that. We were kind of like, why no A+ from Version1? Like trying to find something to talk about. You guys are all just so incredible. And who is going to face you? That is the next question. Complexity, e.g. Shopify Rebellion are going to duke it out in the lower bracket. Who do you think is going to rise up and face you in the finals?
SR played well against us, but for me personally, I'm cheering for my former teammate Jazzykins on Complexity. I would love to see her in Brazil. I love her, and I think Complexity is an insane team. And I think that if they can win against EG, they might be able to have a really close game versus SR. So definitely between those two, but my heart's with Complexity.
Yeah, there's so many good teams. I'm rooting for the best Valorant game that we can, the best finals that we can. And best of luck to you there. And thank you so much for the interview, Malba.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, y'all. Holy, what a day. I swear we always start these streams with bangers of matches. So that is Version1 going to the grand finals, and that's not even the end of the day. You guys better be staying up with us. We have Complexity versus EG coming up next, and the winner of that faces Shopify Rebellion. We're not doing that many matches, but please keep those butts in your seats or grab some popcorn, because we're going to be back after this break.
I wish for the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro.
Sean, do you mean this one, the one with titanium? Switch to Verizon. You can trade in any iPhone and get the new iPhone 15 Pro on them.
Trade in any iPhone in any condition for a new iPhone 15 Pro on us, only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.